morning.
What's up?
Hi, this is William, and we have Chris here today with us. So this morning, I think the two of us actually woke up extra early.
Yep.
Not our usual waking up time. Usually I do this on a Sunday morning. All the time. So in my video, I always tell people I wake up extra early. Okay. So today actually we are here to talk about our own cars. For Chris, he especially looked out for this car, and for me, actually I got it kind of like by accident and then after that I kind of fell in love with parts of it, but there are also certain parts that I really hate about it. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about the Proton Iriz. That's right, that's my green one. I always believe we should get colorful cars, and that's mine. Okay, so we have for my case actually it's a 1.6 CVT. Yes, I don't like CVT, and I got a CVT. And we have Chris manual 1.6 here. I think he looked high and low for this, right?
Yep. It took a very long time to find this, but at first I nearly gave up and just thought, you know what, the 1.3 manual should be good enough. Until it was a miracle to suddenly find this pop-up on Muda one day, and we decided to go, me and my father, we decided to go check this car out. And true enough, it was perfect in almost every single way. Almost, huh?
Then after you drive, then you realize
it was fantastic. I tell you, it was fantastic.
Yeah, so this is actually Proton's supposedly global hatch that they're supposed to bring them to higher success. So I think they put in a lot of effort in the R&D in terms of the handling, the chassis. So it is very good. I have to say that part is actually very good. Now, there were some letdowns, I suppose, and maybe that could have caused the demise of, their dreams of going global with this car. I understand this car they will actually built it in joint together with Lotus, and so the handling wise is actually very, very good. And for a couple of years now, actually almost 6 years if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 6 years. So you have seen through all the good and the bad. I've swapped out multiple tires of it because puncture here and there. Even my rims were stolen at one point. So yeah, and now the latest thing is that I just discovered just now when I was talking to Chris. Yeah, even the mud flap has broken off now. Okay, suffered quite a lot of paint damage at the front. Yeah, so a lot of things happened to my car, and I hope will never happen to Chris' car, by the way. Lovely rims. That's one of the main reasons why I got my 1.6 rather than the 1.3 at the starting anyway. And I really wish I have this back again. Yeah, maybe I would not change because I'm still going for the 86, so I'm gonna save up my money. So for those of you who know, recently I just actually had something in the steering column swapped out for my car that cost me a bomb. Okay, so you can actually watch just a short video of what happened. What is the thing I swapped out? I even don't know what the heck is that. Okay, if you know, please do tell me. Yeah, that thing cost me a bomb. But anyway, now my car drives great again, so that's good. So let's go out for a drive and just have a comparison between the two cars. Favorite part about my car?
I used to remember there were two cup holders in this area. Somehow in William's car, this whole entire area has it's turned into a pit of whatever fits in the area.
I have some gloves, some keys for my work, and just everything.
Oops. Well, I'm somehow used to a auto car that feels almost like a manual to drive that is jerky.
A little bit jerky at the start, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, so let me just adjust my seat a little bit because I have a child seat at the back, so it's a little bit okay, the space actually on the Iriz itself is a bit of an issue.
Yep.
Especially for the rear seat, because I don't know, it's because of design or what, but the rear seat feels quite cramped at times. Although the seats are very comfortable though.
Oh, the reason why it feels cramped is actually because the seats that Proton give in the back seats, compared to like the Myvi or the Asia, is actually full-size seats where there's actually a proper thigh support for people like us with actually long thighs.
Yeah.
We'll feel we'll feel very
Wait,
comfortable in
That's
it.
very unbecoming of a Proton driver. Wait. Okay, Chris, just put on the wiper there.
So sorry.
Okay. Actually, you can rev hard if you want to on a empty stretch of road.
Yeah, later first, bro.
Okay.
Calm down. We'll wait to the juicy part later first. Hey, did you say that there's no difference if I put it in drive or low?
Nope, not to me anyway. You can try it. I just feel that in the low gear it just tend to rev a bit noisier, but there's no extra feel to it. So this is in L. Okay.
Yeah, there's still definitely that initial lag.
Yeah.
When the moment you put your foot down, normally you would expect an instant acceleration, but
Exactly.
it's rather hesitant though.
I think your Iriz and my Iriz is like the granddaddy of Iriz. Correct. It's like the first batch.
Yep.
So that particular batch has this issue with the CVT, and our interior should be the most similar. After that,
Yep.
they have a what facelift, right?
They had a 2017. Okay, it's not exactly a facelift lah. They just call it the 2017 update. So they, if I remember, they improved. Their main focus was to improve the noise, vibration, and harshness of the car.
Yep.
So if I remember, the first thing they did was actually they changed the mounting points of the engine, where they changed it from a 4 mounting points in the engine, then they swapped it down to 3.
Oh, so
I don't know how
does that help?
makes. Yeah, apparently that helps. I don't know how, because I thought if you swap from 4 to 3, it should become harsher, but apparently it's more subtle. It's better somehow though. I don't know why. Then the next thing is they improved on the soundproofing of the car, so they put more soundproofing, especially on the back doors, because the first batch Proton Irises, actually the back doors is tin can kosong. There's no soundproofing on the back door. There's barely any soundproofing on the back part of the floor, and definitely there is nothing on the back doors. On the two front doors there is some soundproofing, but overall that's about it. So that's why you will notice when you're cruising on highway speeds about 110 onwards, you notice it's actually, without the first batch Irises, is actually, you notice it's actually quite noisy.
Which, by the way, Chris has already DIY'd his car's insulation, okay, which I haven't done any lah. I'm a DIY sucker. I can't do a DIY things for nuts, except for changing tires. At least I know how to do that. Okay, here you go. So as you can see, we are doing all these things on an empty road. So please don't try this on a busy road. It's dangerous. Safety first. Yeah. So on my car, just to show everybody, I still have the stock suckiest head unit that I've ever had in any of the cars I've owned. Yeah, Chris couldn't stand it though. So
it's terrible, I tell you. Trying to connect. You see, in 2014 there are still a couple of people who still use CD players. Now it's 2020, right? So who in the world uses CD players?
yeah.
So obviously you will use Bluetooth, or at least the SD card or the USB slot somewhere down there. But all of us have Spotify, right? So I mean, like, most of us have music streaming apps. So we would normally try to use Bluetooth lah. My goodness, I tell you, the Bluetooth on this head unit, right, is one of the worst Bluetooth connections ever. Trying to connect a phone to this head unit, right, it's basically, it all depends on the day, the time, the positioning of the moon. I don't know. The stupid thing is, you try to connect your phone to the Bluetooth, right? Most of the time, either A, the head unit hangs, or B, the phone would not connect at all.
Yep.
Or C, okay, I don't know whether you have experienced this, but on my car, the steering wheel controls will suddenly hang up and it will not work at all.
Happened to me one time, just one time.
Yeah. But the thing I really don't like about this head unit is sometimes when you turn on the car, this touchscreen itself just hangs. It does not want to do anything. And even though it's an Android-based head unit where you
Yep.
think, oh, okay, you can download Spotify, you can download Waze. Oh, so sorry. This is a very ancient Android. It's Android 2.2 something. I can't
don't know.
remember what is it.
But it's horrible. I can share with you my experience. The funny thing that happened to this particular head unit with me. There was one time I think I had my key in the car. Probably not started I can't remember. I was sleeping at one point. The time I was too tired. I was resting, and the radio suddenly turned on and started to play very loud, maximum volume. I was like, whoa!
Oh yeah.
Shocked me once.
That's the thing I don't like about this radio. Sometimes when you start the car, right, the radio starts up on maximum.
Yeah.
The volume is at max. I do not know, is it Proton purposely programmed it this way so all of us as Proton Iriz owners would. You know how we're supposed to have this adrenaline rush when we drive our cars like little hot hatches, right?
Yeah.
Is this how Proton is trying to make us have this pre-adrenaline rush before we even drive the car?
I think this head unit has a soul of its own. It has mood swings, you know. Sometimes it will work for you. Sometimes just like decide, nope, I'm not gonna do anything today. I'm gonna sit down here and chill out. Yeah. But of course, for my case, I actually worked through this head unit for 3 years of the warranty that it comes with the vehicle. So I had it changed because I was facing a lot of issues with it until the end of the warranty finished. Then after that, most of the major issues have been sorted out. Yeah, I also had a talk to the supplier of this particular head unit. Actually, it's actually from Propang. The guy told me that this particular unit doesn't come with memory, meaning to say that, okay, last time when I had this car, we were still playing with the CD and all that. Whenever you stop the car, when you re-enter the car, the CD just doesn't restart. It doesn't continue where you stop. It just restart. Okay, so that was for me an issue because I was listening to a lot of CD at that time.
This was the original storage space of the head unit itself. I mean, as you can tell, stock it comes with supposed to be 6 gigabytes of space, but I don't know why it dropped down to 4.92. What's the 1 gigabyte of whatever nonsense is inside here.
Okay.
So obviously, this is great if you plan to download all your songs from YouTube and put it directly into the head unit. Assuming that you see now the stupid thing is now
it's not very sensitive, right? It's not very sensitive.
Yeah. So unless if you're willing to painstakingly download all your YouTube music one by one into it, then okay, fine. It's fine to keep this head unit. Otherwise, there's no Android Auto. There's no Apple CarPlay. Don't even think of dreaming of anything like Mirror Link, for example.
Yeah. I want to show you one thing though. Let's start calculating stuff. I really don't know why they have a calculator in the car.
No, I mean it's an Android-based head unit, so obviously they'll put a calculator in it.
When I first saw it, I was like, "What? Who want to calculate things on the car?"
No I think it's part of when things in this car starts to break so when you need to calculate your total repair bill, so kind enough for Proton to put this in
But you know what I have to say after owning a car for about 6 years, the car itself is actually pretty reliable. Meaning to say there's not much of a major issue with the car in terms of normally with cars we talk about major problem is engine transmission. That's the scariest part of the car that you want to fix. But I have to say, Proton for this particular car, the engine transmission haven't given me any problem at all. So that part is good. Okay, safe to say, if you want to buy this car for your day-to-day drive, A point to B point, it's good. It's good. Yeah, no worries about that. Another thing about this head unit is actually the sound quality coming out from the speakers are actually not too bad. Not too bad for this segment of car. Last time, this is a B segment. So last time when I had the 2009 Honda City, that particular sound quality was one of the more perfect one. Then I changed into this car, and it's still pretty good. The only thing, of course, is that I think it's because the head unit couldn't process the power. So when you have bass, usually that's where you take out a lot of power. And when hit the high bass part, for my particular car, I'm not sure about what is that, Chris ones. When hit the high bass, then the volume start to die down because there's not enough power to the speakers.
Okay, that situation I don't think I've actually ever experienced before, but because also most of my music doesn't really have a lot of bass. I'm more towards like jazz kind of music, so there's not really much bass to it. But I'm actually quite happy with the sound quality of the speakers. Actually, it's 4 speakers. I mean, can't really expect much from a segment like this lah. But
it's really good though.
Surprisingly,
really good.
for this exactly, if you compare it to other segments lah, it's not the greatest. But if you compare it within the segment that is supposed to be competing against other cars, it's actually very good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. That we have to give commendations to Proton lah.
Good job,
Good job for the audio part. Although it could have been better, but handling part, yes, there's no doubt about it. Okay, so what is your general feedback, Chris, for driving this CVT? What's your feeling?
Okay, I mean, handling wise, both of my car and your car seems almost identical. The thing I just don't like is the CVT gearbox. It's just, with the manual, at least you change the second gear when you really want to overtake lah. You have already changed to the appropriate gear, wait for the timing, you floor the accelerator and the car will instantly accelerate. This one, even when you put it into low, right, which theoretically I think should be the sport mode of the car, when you floor the accelerator, it doesn't. There's still a hesitation with the gearbox. It's like the engine would spike up first when you accelerate. When you floor the accelerator, it will spike up first, then only I think the clutch will only engage, then only the car moves. I just don't like that, because the last thing you want is you find yourself a gap to overtake. It's either there's only a small wind time frame for you to overtake that quickly, and then suddenly you have to wait for the car to pick up the speed, pick up the revs first, then only it will actually accelerate, and then by the time you pull out the lane, oh sorry, there's another car that's come into view, and now you have to return back to your lane.
Yeah, so after driving this car for a while, we have to learn how to think ahead of time. Every time you want to do something, you know your feet is already at the accelerator, and you know, like prepping it, like let's go. Then when you go out to the lane, then like okay, it's going. That's how actually we'll be working around with it. Now this is what actually Proton should have put into the Iriz. Okay, more proper. Look at that. You have so many things. Actually, it does make the car look a bit more modern with the colors and all that.
Yep, that's very
mine
true.
is so bland. I mean, at the time when I still remember, actually the salesperson told me that, oh, you can put pictures in the background. I was thinking, why would I want to do that?
No, actually, yeah, it makes it slightly more colourful.
Slightly more colourful.
I remember I tried to put a wallpaper in the head unit, but my goodness, it was horrible. I tell you, it's either I'm not sure, is it the wallpaper? I don't know what you call it, the wallpaper application, whatever not. Someone doesn't seem to process the picture properly. It looks very pixelated on my...
Nah, the resolution is pretty bad.
The resolution is just bad overall.
Yes. Okay. Right, so I'm going to hand the camera to Chris. So Chris, here you go.
Yep.
Okay. Now actually I tried driving Chris cars before this. I'm happy to report that I haven't have a problem like I did with the Megane. There's no engine dying off. Let's hope it doesn't happen again. Okay, let me adjust my seat a little bit. Yep, okay, alright. So I remember you have to double clutch it, then you can only reverse.
Yep.
Hey, okay, it works. Right. Okay, let me reverse a little bit. Oh, okay. I have to get used to the bright point first.
Yeah, the bright point on this car to some people might be a bit weird, because the bite point is actually a little high up.
But actually, compared to, I think, many cars out there, the shifting of this particular car is not too bad. It's not like what do you call that? Sometimes I think they call it the long throw. It's a very long throw. So it's not that bad. You know, you don't have to move very far to get into one of the gears. So on that part, I like lah. So just now I was having a talk with Chris, is that I can't remember actually what's the horsepower and the torque output. I normally don't. Okay, But yeah, he told me this car produces 80 horsepower, correct?
No. 107 horsepower, 80 kilowatts.
Okay, alright, that's 80 kilowatt. My bad. See, I still cannot remember. All I remember is the torque is 150 Newton meters, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So to our surprise, actually the 1.6 has a better power band output. I mean the graph itself, it looks much better. So you get your torque delivery earlier on compared to the 1.3. So in terms of driving, what you want is actually the early torque delivery. So that's where you get the acceleration feel, right? So much better the drive on the second part when I have a bit used to the to clutch it. Better than the first round. I think that part Chris is feeling ouch. So I think the one thing for me is that driving in this manual compared to the CVT has a big problem in the the immediate power delivery compared to this one. I think Chris, you have felt it as well.
Yep.
Alright. The CVT, it will deliver the power, but of course it's not so instant. And then of course I think it just doesn't feel that nice because of that lag that you have there. So like this one, whenever I want the power, it goes. I mean, in the hands of a guy who is not very familiar with manual transmission, not so smooth, but I believe in the hands of Chris should be okay. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, man, it's good. Okay lah. I don't want to destroy your car already, so to say. So, we're gonna go and just stop somewhere and do a quick walk around. Okay, and then after that, although we don't have the new generation today because Silver is not here, so but we will do a comparison with him next time when we see him. So you want to see really what is the difference between the pre-Geely, post-Geely Iriz. Okay, definitely I guess because this car's handling is quite good, right? You want some more engaging drive. I would recommend the manual for sure. And I believe actually manual, in terms of the the maintenance should be lower as well.
This was the first car that I actually got. Because actually before this, me and my father, we were actually cross-shopping against other cars. So basically we were trying to find any second-hand cars on sale that were less than 5 years, actually maximum 5 years old, and it has to be 35,000 ringgit and below. So whatever ideas that I had of like buying E30 BMWs or any like 20-year-old 3 Series or whatever, no. Oh, so sorry, that was completely tossed out of the window. So yeah, so within that price range, you can only find like Myvis, Vivas, Asias, Irizes, all our local national car national brands. Obviously, there will be the foreign ones like the Kia Picanto or whatever, but because when I took into consideration finding parts for that kind of car would be a little bit more difficult compared to the Iriz. So obviously, I stuck to national car brands lah. So I read all the reviews saying that the Iriz handles far superior than the Myvi, the Asia, and then also it's supposed to be significantly safer. So obviously that made me attracted to finding a Iriz secondhand on the used car market lah. So, but the thing is, I read all the reviews that they said the manual transmission of the Iriz is far superior than the CVT, which everyone all just complained. Everyone just said it was just complete utter crap.
Yeah. So I have to agree. The CVT is really the down point of the Iriz. You know what? It brings the fun out of the car when the car is really so fun already.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, I was looking at how everyone said the 1.6 is the engine to get, but it's paired with the crap CVT gearbox. But everyone says the 1.3 manual transmission is good, but it's paired with the 1.3 engine, and some of the car is about 1.2 tons, right?
Yes, yeah.
This car is actually quite a fairly heavy car.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
It's heavy, but because it's made of very high strength steel, so and it's also quite heavy.
And the chassis is very solid. So I believe they have done more. I mean, like probably there are more steel in there compared to your Myvis and all that. That's why it has that very solid handling.
Yeah, that's very true. So obviously, so the 1.3 is not powerful enough. The CVT gearbox is crap.
Yep.
So obviously, I was trying to find the 1.6 manual transmission for this car, but the problem is they only made 500 units.
Yep.
It's they said an estimate about 500 units, and it's only for I think one model year. So trying to find one secondhand was virtually impossible. So I just thought, okay, you know what? Never mind. I'll try to find a 1.6 manual. If really cannot find a 1.6 manual, okay, fine, I'll settle with the 1.3 manual, because I really cannot stand the CVT gearbox. It's just so lethargic and so jerky.
It's lazy.
It's lazy, which is... It doesn't drive like a CVT gearbox at all. So already the CVT in most cars is already quite boring, right?
Yeah, it is.
So more, this is like the okay, it's not the...
In the CVT world, probably you have the like good CVT and the bad CVT. Here's where Proton CVT is sitting. Bad.
No, it's not the... Okay, the one at the Iriz is not the worst.
Not the worst
one.
you had?
It's not... No, it's not the worst, because I've read reports saying that the ones... When this Proton Iriz launched out, all the reviews said that this is so far the best CVT gearbox that Proton has done.
Really?
But that's not saying much lah. It's the best of the worst of what they've done.
I don't like it. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So actually, just now you were talking about like, you know, the reviews and all that. At first, as a very layman, you know, at the time when I was still very fresh in the automotive industry, I was thinking like, hey, all these journalists, they are being paid by Proton to you know, to like review the car or what? Everyone that drives the car like, hey, the car is so good. You know, like we're thinking like, wow, everybody got paid Proton's so rich they really want to make this model successful, so they pay everybody. But you know, after owning the car, then only I realized that the car really drives so well. That's why all the journalists are so impressed. At the time when I had the car, after I had it for a while, then I realized that the driving, the damping from the suspension and all that is actually above all the Japanese segment at the time, and probably is maybe close to or maybe on par with the Continental. I'm not too sure about that.
Oh, actually, I'm not sure. Okay, the manual version of this, I have a friend of mine who drives the Volkswagen Polo, the 1.2 and 1.2 TSI.
Okay, right.
So I compared. I can't. If I remember, they both make. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they both make around the same horsepower. But somehow though, this just feels more responsive than the Polo. Somehow the handling of the Polo, just the steering and the suspension just feels a little bit softer. Like everything just feels a little bit lazier, a little bit softer.
Less sporty, I would say.
Yeah, less sportier, that's the thing. But that's why I'm very surprised with this Proton. I mean, you would normally think that the continental Europeans
should be better,
yeah,
right? Yep.
Everyone else should be doing better than our Malaysian car brand, right? But surprisingly, it's really well done.
That's why it's very important. Before you try it, you can't say something is no good. A lot of people are asking me at the time, so like, hey, why you buy Proton? You know, Proton, you know, this brand tak boleh pakai one lah. But at the time when I actually look out for the car, what happened was that I actually went around, tried the car itself. Then of course, for me, one very important thing is I still have the image that Proton, you know, when you open the door and you close the door, it's like cha, that kind of sound. I don't want that. But when I had it, when I tried on the Iriz, like, not bad. It's significantly improved. The thing that did not actually impress me was the Preve. That time they say it's like the first turbocharged Proton.
Oh yeah.
It's like that thing did not impress me because they had a lot of issues in terms of fit and finish. I find certain things just a bit cheapo. Okay. Then after that, when I tried the Iriz, it's a totally different story. So that's why I decided to buy the Iriz at that time. So that time my choice was what? Myvi, Iriz. Yeah, I didn't look at the Picanto, all those, because at the time the Kia brand was not that strong yet. So then that's why it's like, okay lah, I'll go with the Iriz rather than Myvi, because I already had the Myvi anyway. So yeah, but of course 6 years down the road, pretty good. So far really no problem, and I do get a lot of compliments on the aircon, by the way.
Oh yeah, the air, I tell you, the aircon of Proton really knows how to make a very good aircon.
Yes.
Especially, you know, those times when you park your car underneath the sun for like a few hours. I mean, because the car park is an open car park, you go for work or whatever not. When you come back to the car, you just wind down the windows for a while. Then you just wind it back up, you turn the aircon to full blast, and if the car will get, the inside of the car will get cold within a matter of like a minute. Yeah. It's really, the aircon is really efficient, it's really effective.
Yes. So the guys who did your the job for speccing the aircon for this particular,
good job.
Yeah, really, you know, my colleagues actually sometimes we go out for lunch, and when they like to sit in my car because of the aircon.
Yeah, the aircon is really cold actually.
Really cold and very fast. Okay. Yeah, so let's go through a little bit of the interior of the car now. Okay, just a quick look at the interior. So, of course, I think the newer ones, they have a nicer instrument panel over here. So this was in 2014 at the time. Having this was pretty okay for me. So pretty informative. I always use the instant because I like to see this. I think some of the cars, they have it called instant fuel
instantaneous economy. Yeah.
So this is for me how I gauge my driving So if you have watched my previous video of the Myvi review, which you can watch over there on the top right, okay, I always thought I'm better at driving than my wife, but turns out my wife is actually the lighter footed one, and I have a lead foot. So no matter what I do, I can't beat her record. Okay, so yeah, I think for me this is pretty okay lah. Although I did read comments that the spacing of the RPM is kind of weird.
Oh, the spacing of the RPM is not the bad one. It's the speedometer.
Speedometer? Why?
What's our national speed limit?
110.
So where's the marker for 110?
It's somewhere. It's not exactly straight. It's somewhere a bit off, a little bit off.
Exactly. It's very trying to. It's like it's a bit hard to. You're either below the speed. Most of the time, you're either below the speed limit or above the speed limit.
Okay. No, but what they were saying is that, you know, because here I think they have accidentally put in an extra dot. So so usually, let's say 1,000 you divide by 5, right?
Yep.
You get 200 each. So by right you should have 4 dots in the middle. That's why you have 5 sections. But now they have 5 dots. So you have 6 sections. 1,000 divided by 6.
I don't know. Actually, that's something I just realized. I never pay attention to that one. Only now when you brought it up, I'm like, now I cannot answer.
Of course, it doesn't disturb me so I don't care also anyway. So yeah, so for the pre-Geely steering, so you still have this. I saw the buttons are still here. So that part is actually pretty good because I do find the buttons pretty useful. The only thing is that, of course, the quality of the buttons are not the best. So, but still, I appreciate having the ability to control my volume from my steering. Does yours still work with the new?
Yeah, it works.
Everything works. Okay, great. Okay, so here's the aircon control. Yeah, that's Chris head unit. Okay, so the aircon control. From the early days of the Iriz, you probably have seen many reviews. For me, this is unacceptable. If you can see,
very rattly.
Yep, very rattly, and you can actually move it. You know. Yep, look at that. Yeah, but actually, if they have done this a little bit better, it'll be great.
Yeah, I kind of wish they did, because you see, when you look at the dashboard from afar, you notice the prominent designs is obviously this belt around here, and then they make these 3 air vents. Especially they put it in chrome also, so it looks so obvious. It's a bit, I don't know. It's
you're highlighting your flaws here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, come on, man. Couldn't you have put in like better quality aircon controls?
Yeah. So I think that part is a letdown, huh?
Yeah.
And because this is still at the time is still done by the locals. So sorry, I'm not saying the locals are bad, but at that time the management was not doing that great. Yeah, I think it's obvious on Chris cars as well. There's a bit of a issue with the gapping here.
Yep.
It's not flush, right?
Yep.
If let's say a good one, probably they'll have it flush like this.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't know what happened there.
Okay lah, at least on the bright side, they give you your teh tarik hook lah. So
yes.
You can hook your whatever you want to hook here. It's supposed to be for handbags or bags, but I don't know which handbag now is so
but
thin.
I tell you though, this thing has its pro and con. Sometimes when I'm driving alone, I tapao stuff, right? Okay, this is good. But like, example, right now, when let's say sometimes my wife is sitting here, I tapao, I want to hook here, I cannot because it burn her leg.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I cannot, okay? So that part is the downside lah. Then here, of course, you have a little bit of space, which was no longer available in my car, by the way. And this is the cup holder that Chris mentioned. Pretty good lah, I would say, as a key holder as well, and for glove holding and many things for me.
Yep.
Okay, some little space here.
Your USB charger here with the both different power outputs. This is a 2.1A and this is a 1.5A.
Yep.
So this is about you can charge your iPad or
yes,
whatever with it.
correct.
It's quite good, quite convenient.
And then here, of course, you have another one as well down here. But I hardly use this because this is a bit of maybe a lower voltage one. I mean lower amp one. So I don't use that. I usually use this one. This is very good. And then another cup holder for the rear passengers if they are drinking anything. And then over here, you have your standard controls. Nothing special over here that I want to talk about. But I think we do have a bit of a problem with the interior, right? These plastic panels are actually turning green.
Yeah. Actually, this one on this left side is more apparent.
Okay.
For some strange reason, I don't know what coating that Proton uses, but it oxidizes the moment you park it underneath the sun. So if you notice some basically you can here's a very good tip. When you're buying these cars secondhand, just look at the color of the air vents and you can tell if the owner has parked the car underneath the sun for a very long time. Mine is starting to turn a bit green, but I've seen some which are completely light green.
Oh really?
I've seen when I was shopping for the Iriz, I've seen some that was light green, like really light. It's like this one is like only when you pay attention and only you realize, oh yeah, this is a slightly different color. That one that I tried the other time I can't remember which used car dealer lot was it. I noticed that one was the first thing I said it. The moment I looked that direction, I saw this air vent was light green.
Okay, he noticed it on my car, by the way. That's why I also noticed it. I didn't even pay attention to that. Okay, so oh yes, I have to mention though, the seat of Iriz is actually very comfortable. Very body hugging. I like it.
It's very supportive.
Yes, very supportive. So
yeah, almost like semi-bucket seats actually.
Yes, almost like a semi-bucket seat. So to me, my surprise is that at that time, I find that the seat is hugging my body very well. So when I drive around the bends faster, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I mean, I never had an experience like that. I mean, if I've driven, I think most of my family cars are comfort, comfort focused cars. So it's like so it doesn't have this kind of feeling. Yeah, but the Iriz is really good very well. Works on people like my size or someone of bigger size. But my wife say it doesn't affect her in any way because she's rather small size. Okay, but still I like it. I would recommend it. Okay, so let's do a quick walk around of the Iriz. This is the 2014 model, and this is the granddaddies of Iriz around Malaysia. Okay, so whatever you have become after this is all because you have this. Okay, when we bought this, so that you all have the money to continue. Okay, so this is the similar to my spec. So I'm going to use Chris Iriz, as the walk around video. Yeah, only the premium has the the LED DRL, but for the rest of us, we don't have this. We have instead of this kind of like fog lamp. That's about it. So sometimes when I drive around, I just turn on the fog lamp to make it look like a DRL, a bit nicer lah. But the position is very nice. Okay. The front design of the Iriz actually is pretty good, I would say. Not sure about people, but for me, after a while, this car looks great. Okay, and then of course, I think for our particular variants, the 1.6, we have this skirting around, which makes the car look a bit better, by the way. Okay, so standard halogen lamp here. At the time, is still using a lot of halogen, and then this is the 16. Oh no, this is the 15-inch. Yeah, this is the 15-inch rims. Okay, this is the executive and premium rims that we have. Okay, and this is the one I've got stolen from. I think it's actually a pretty hot item in the market, so maybe many out there has also been stolen, and then after that resold back into the market. So Chris has here his Hankook tires, Hankook Ventus. Okay, so he says it's actually better for the performance. Yeah, I didn't change my profile or the what do you call that? I didn't change my profile. I didn't change my this what do you call it? The sidewall height. Okay, because I want to maintain the what do you call that? The comfort of the vehicle itself. So on the side profile of this particular vehicle, yeah. So well, we can tell, of course, it's a hatchback. And the one good thing about for us, the 1.6 variants, is that you have this, the spoiler, which makes the car look a bit better, okay, compared to the 1.3, which looks a bit naked. And for the 1.6, also we have this lower bumper cladding at the rear here. Okay, it makes the car looks really sporty, and I really love it. But however, for some reason, seems like they're actually supposed to have some kind of cutout for exhaust here. I'm not too sure whether this is the initial thing that they wanted, but the exhaust finally ended up there. So there isn't any exhaust over here. But still, this lower cladding makes the car looks really good. Okay, and then of course you have your reverse camera over here, and I really appreciate it. Of course, it helps in terms of reversing. Okay, and of course, let me see what other things I can talk about. Okay, the rear looks, not everybody appreciates the rear looks of an Iriz. I've seen people say this is the ugliest rear look that you have on a car. Well, it's really dependent on your perspective lah. Design is subjective. For me, initially, I don't think it looks that great, but after a while, I think it looks pretty okay. Okay, for me personally, I still prefer the front looks of the car itself. Okay. Yeah. So the good thing about the Iriz actually is the rear seat. I think if you have not tried this, okay, listen to us as an Iriz owner. Rear seats are really comfortable. Okay. Now, the front seats just now was in Chris driving setting, so it's a normal driving setting. And when I'm seated here, first thing, of course, you don't have much legroom, but look at the seat. It's actually pretty long. Okay, it's pretty long, so it supports the thigh. On a long journey, trust me, this will be way more comfortable than your Myvi out there. Okay, way more comfortable. Okay, then the headrest also is pretty okay for this car. Okay, it's adjustable. Come on, it's adjustable. All right. Okay, but of course, space-wise, it's not huge. So that is probably the only concern for the Iriz rear seat. Good. Yeah. So for the boot, okay, I'm happy to say, this is what you call as a gas spring. So for Iriz, no issue so far, even for mine. This was a big issue for the the previous I think the second gen this Myvi. Okay, it was a big issue, but for Iriz, I'm happy to say there's no such problem. Boot space, it's alright, not too big, not too small. If you're traveling, back to your hometown, probably can fit a couple of bags. Yeah, I've fitted a kind of like a big luggage here, no problem. Okay, and of course the seats, you can actually put it down flat. Okay, and then you can put more things lah. So I've done that for my work and all that. So this one's a very simple, just a hook-on kind of mechanism, standard for this kind of segment for the this boot cover here. Okay, Okay, so we just finished the shooting for the Iriz granddaddies. Okay, yeah, so maybe just some final comments also from myself. Okay, so what about the fuel consumption of this car? Okay, is it actually pretty okay? If you want to compare to a cars like Myvi, of course this vehicle, the fuel consumption is definitely higher. I'm talking about the CVT. I'm not so sure about the manual one. The maximum I can go in one full tank is 450 kilometers, but that is really pushing it. And normally I can get around maybe one full tank about 420 to 30 kilometers. Alright, and one full tank is about 30, actually it's 40 liter, right? But every time I pump it's about 35 liters. It's about there. Okay, and for highway cruising, I think the CVT is a little bit better. Just now we forgot to mention this point because Chris has mentioned that his particular manual transmission, right, has a bit of problem with high-speed cruising. High-speed cruising, his particular car is resting around 3000 RPM, so that may not be the most comfortable RPM for everyone because it's a little bit noisy, droning. If you can take it, that's good. If not, yeah, it's a bit noisy. So for my case, it's not too bad. At about 110 kilometers per hour, my RPM is around 3000, so it's pretty alright for me. Okay, highway cruising, this car is pretty okay lah. Like a few points we mentioned, the seats are pretty comfortable, and I mean for my car, the fuel consumption is very good on highway. I mean it's better than normal. That's why I say it's better. Of course, highway is definitely always better than urban, right? But in the urban scenario, my car's fuel consumption is significantly higher than its peers in the segment. Okay, but on highway, I believe mine can almost beat some of the top ones, alright, because of the CVT. So at high speed, power delivery for my particular vehicle is pretty okay. It's only at the starting, the stop and the start and stop, this kind of situation, it's not so great. Yeah. So yeah, that's my verdict on the Iriz. Whether you should buy it as your next car, I mean in terms of as a second hand, because we're talking about only the first batch. I think it's okay if you want to buy it. Okay, it's a good car to have for starters because of the great driving experience, the handling part. Alright, so you can really feel what is good riding vehicle. I think my challenge is that now I start to benchmark a lot of cars' suspension against this car. So that's why I tend to feel like many cars out there, I'm not able to match this car's suspension, and that is my problem. So yeah, if you're looking for something very comfortable to drive and handles great, this is the car for you. You might want to get it. Green color is very limited edition. Okay, and it's almost similar to your manual transmission because there's not many buyers for the green color. Well, I think green color looks great on this car. Okay, another advantage if you have a colorful car like mine, when you go out there to the shopping malls, from far you can see where's your car parked. Okay, there's no need to worry, like remember what kind of pillars and all that kind of stuff. That's a good point about it. Yeah. So again, okay, I wish to thank everyone for watching the video. For following us so far. You have been great to us. We're very happy to tell you that we are growing very well. Some of our videos are very well received, and for those who have really subscribed to us, thank you very much. And for those who have not done so, what are you doing? Subscribe now. Okay, and see you again in the next video from Tons and Speed, guys.
Eyes glow like to fires, movement so graceful. Wildcat in the jungle with dangerous claws. Movement she anticipates, a sight is set on her prey. Like stars in the darkest night, crystallize, fascinate. If you wanna stay alive, if you don't wanna be her prey, don't stand in her way. Run, run, run away. Crystallize, 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 watching her prey. Crystallize, 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 fascinate.